Kirk Huff, the Huffster.
It's me.
Bro, so you just got. Why were you in Orlando?
I refed a Fuji BJJ tournament.
Oh, nice. You went down there just for reffing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's dope. You do a lot of work with Fuji, right? They sponsor you.
Yeah, they sponsor me, and then I ref one pretty often,
Nice.
a few times a year. I never know. It was like a Wednesday night. JW was like, "Hey, can you ref?" I'm
Oh,
like,
nice.
"Sure, I can."
So they cover your hotel and travel.
Mm-hmm.
They give you per diem, or how's that work? They just give you a flat fee for being there.
He bought dinner for everybody, and it was pretty nice. They flew us down there. I think the tournament was like kind of a few things fell through. They had to piece some things together to get it going. So,
dude, none of those go as smooth as you would like.
no, even if like you think about like trying to run one, like everything falls apart on those things.
Yeah, I've worked through the process before. Like just, there's so many pieces.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many pieces.
Yeah.
You I can't make a clean transition from that. But how's Vegas?
I did not enjoy it this time as much as like previous times I've been.
Is it because you're competing?
Maybe that was a factor. Yeah. Then it seemed like there was traffic everywhere I went, and I didn't plan it as well. I wasn't sure if I was doing it, and then a few weeks out I kind of decided to do it.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, it's poorly planned.
Is this your first year doing IBJJF for real?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you had all that issue trying to get registered and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about them making everybody register. I mean, I get the pros and cons. I really do. Like, I've talked to Tracy about it, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, but if I know if my money's going to, like, these rings or, giving recognition to some of the legends and, I mean, there's got to be somebody who's doing it, right? But it's like, man, well, they did it where you had to be a black belt, and then they included brown belts, and then they included purple belts, and now it's everybody that has to pay a fee to compete. It's like, golly, like,
it is weird that they're like the global sanctioning body of jiu-jitsu, but they're just a privately ran company.
Yeah.
A for-profit company, but they're like the gold standard of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And
that's weird. They can do whatever they want. You know who else is like that, or what else is like that? The NCAA.
Yeah, that's real shady, right?
Dude, that's a private organization, and like that's governing the entire country for collegiate athletics, essentially.
Yeah, and who makes money there?
They do. They don't. They don't answer to anybody.
Right. That's like what's their drug testing policies? What's their policies on this? I guess because it's almost like a private thing. You almost don't. There's a lot of gray areas.
Yeah. There's not very much transparency going on. I think that's the same thing with IBJJF. Well, here's the fucked up thing about that, and I don't know if I lean one way or the other. I'm not a fan of paying the fee, but what I have seen with my own two eyes is that there is some favoritism going on within that organization, and it usually favors the nationality of Brazil.
That's that's the running joke. The Brazilian guy ties his belt like 2 points.
Dude, well, last year at Worlds, I was watching a match, and dude gets a takedown, gets the 2 points, controls the entire match, doesn't get swept. Maybe they stood back up at some point. Mm-hmm. But the other dude never got a reversal or sweep or takedown, but he had 2 points out. 2 points magically appeared on the fucking thing, and then it ended up going into maybe overtime or ref's decision.
Yeah, ref's decision.
And the other guy won on an advantage or some bullshit. Yeah. But it's like he didn't even get the 2 points in the first place.
Yeah. I've seen.
This was in the finals.
What I deem good and bad calls on both sides. The only time I feel like I really got some bad call was in Orlando. It's like the guy got hit with stalling 2 times, and like he just back up off the mat. And I was like, the next one's a DQ, and they just never
gave it to him.
That was the only time where I was like, man, that I got done dirty. But I've seen good and bad, and it's a really hard score.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be a ref. Like, I wouldn't want to do what you do on a regular basis. Like, you ref all the time. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, and like especially if it comes to a referee's decision, no matter what, like someone's gonna be upset and someone's gonna be happy.
No matter what, there's no way around it.
Yeah, and like no matter who you say, all right, I'm gonna raise this guy's hand, and honestly, like I try to be as fair as I possibly can. Like I kind of goes like whoever comes the closest to scoring.
Yeah.
But you're the guy that has to raise someone's hand.
Yeah, and you're human. You know what I mean? And there's a lot going on, and those days get long.
Yeah, I do like how the IBJJF kind of like switches refs because your eyes get tired. Like I called a match this weekend where there was like a takedown, and the other coach was like, "Oh, that wasn't a takedown." I was like, "I can see her arguing that, but like in that moment, I felt like it was a takedown."
Yeah.
But I can see why you're arguing about it.
Yeah.
But like, boom, in the moment, I had to make a call.
Yeah, you're human.
Yeah.
You got to make a choice.
There's no instant replay.
Maybe one day. We're seeing this huge transition in the sport.
That is a little weird. That's like like baseball umpires that are calling those strikes. When are we going to do away with that human element, you know?
Yeah, I think they're starting to.
Do they?
Yeah, I know there's instant replay on like some of the bases.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I was watching a game the other day and I saw them review it, and I feel like that was the first time I ever saw that.
Yeah.
I remember in football, it's always been a thing.
But here's the rub with that is it really slows down the process. Imagine doing reviews at like Worlds. Dude, it would take all fucking day. Unless maybe you only implement reviews for like black belts in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like these strict parameters. Like in football, for example, like I think within inside 2 minutes, the only reviews can come from is the booth.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so you have to have these parameters to do it. Maybe do that.
For jiu-jitsu, it's like such a hard sport to score, and you know there's like different scoring systems for every organization.
Yeah, dude, we got all these different organizations popping up and these different styles of jiu-jitsu.
Sub-only, I ref sub-only tournaments too, and that's really easy.
From a reference standpoint. I like those better, actually. I kind of wish they would take the precedent, but I don't think they will.
I heard statistically that like
there's more finishes.
There's more finishes with points because like it makes sense. You get a takedown, then like you have to open up to some degree, and you get caught.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes sense. And you see a lot of people stalling. Like, the EBI rules, you see people, you know, gaming the system hardcore.
Yeah, well, you're going to do that, I think, with any system of competition.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as you figure out the rules, you're like, how do I win?
Yeah, how do you win? Like, I didn't know, and I think we both could have benefited from, you only had like 5 minutes of time between your matches at Worlds. That happened to me last year.
Someone told me, I think it was Neil. He's like, man, they did you just like they did Adam. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I had 4 minutes.
That's it. And did your guy have a bye the first round? Dude, what the fuck? You know what I found out, though? Did you listen to the Nick Sanders podcast? I think we talked about this.
Is that you get 20 minutes?
Dude, yeah, bro. Leave the fucking bullpen. Walk away. They'll call you 3 times before they disqualify you, and they'll give you mad time in between. Now, if they could disqualify you super fast, that's some fucked up shit, right? That means they're doing some shady shit. But from my understanding, you got like 20 to 30 minutes. So what if you had to like go take a shit real fast or something, dude? Like I gotta go, bro. I gotta go do this.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. But
I know. I learned that lesson too.
When I was going through the bullpen, they called me on my belt, and it was the slightest little nick. And I could see the look because I was one of the first matches. There's like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And like the first one, she's like, fine. She examined the next one a little bit more. She really kind of got after the next guy, and then she's like, all right, I'm getting this guy.
Did you have to buy a new belt?
Yeah, it was only $15, but like, it was stressful that I had to run around, and I found a booth, and I was like, whipped out my credit card, I was like, whatever it is. It was only $15.
That worked out.
Yeah, I was like, thank God.
Dude, I was worried about that last year. I borrowed somebody's gi and took it with me, which I actually ended up using because my patch on the back of my other gi wasn't on there good enough. And I knew they'd call it for me, like on me, so I didn't want to have to deal with that. But my belt was tattered, and there's some white showing. So I took a fucking purple Sharpie, and I colored it in.
That worked?
It did.
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe it, dude. I don't want to buy a new fucking belt. Like, this is crazy, dude. I like that tattered belt. I don't want to spend money on this belt that I'm going to use, like, one time.
Well, I had a pretty rough-looking belt in Chicago, and I got there, and I was like, yeah, somebody. I mean, I thought I had one. Then I was like, man, I only got this belt. I'm like, someone might have it. Then, like, no one had a belt. And then I drove 45 minutes north of Chicago to a store that's on Google, said it was open. Wasn't open.
Oh.
I drove back, and I sat there. I was like, well, I guess I'll just go down there and get DQ'd. And the guy passed me. He's like, man, next time you need a belt. I was like, thank God.
They're probably less strict on those regional shows.
Yeah, they're way more.
Well, Worlds is the deal. Like, you got to.
Yeah, but who's going to be like, oh, he didn't beat me. His belt's faded.
Who gives a shit about that? Right. I think that's like the best thing. Like, especially at black belt. Like, that's the goal until my black belt turns white. Just keep training, bro. Like
I
Rodrigo's.
mean, I do dislike, some of the policies like the belt, but like I give them respect because they set that standard and they keep it no matter what.
They don't adhere. Yeah, I can dig that because I mean, sometimes you just gotta draw lines in the sand, and it's just
And they
like
do.
these
I
are,
mean,
this
I
is
don't
the
know if
standard.
they're always fair, but they definitely do.
Yeah. What is it to register? I know it's fresh on your mind. What is it to register? Not for the tournament, but for IBJJF.
I think just $40 a year.
Ah, that's not bad. So no, they're coming to KC, which is cool.
That,
I think they don't come to St. Louis just because it's close to Chicago. You think they don't do it, or you think maybe we'll?
I don't know. I've heard people saying rumors like, hey, they're testing the market in KC. So maybe they're opening up to more and more cities because Nashville came last year. Then there was the Twin Cities.
Yeah, Twin Cities was a big one.
I didn't go to that. I wish I would have. Hopefully go this year. But they're opening up to more and more cities. I feel like they're definitely growing.
There's definitely a market here, but tons of people from here are going to go to KC for sure. I mean, that's a shorter drive than Chicago.
Yeah, it is. But they're probably going to draw a good crowd from Omaha. That's only 2.5 hours from Omaha. I don't know how far from, Colorado schools.
That's not far at all.
It's more centrally located probably than St. Louis.
Yeah, from the aspect of some of those other states.
Schools that don't have tournaments.
Yeah.
And they already go to Chicago, 3 times a year? The spring, fall, maybe just 2.
Yeah, I know twice for sure that they go to Chicago. But
if I'm gonna do like a local tournament, I pretty much only do Chicago ones.
Really?
The turnout's so much better.
Yeah, you're gonna get a good turnout there.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you're getting people probably from Wisconsin, maybe Minnesota. I don't know if that's close or not.
Yeah, Green Bay. I've gone against people from Green Bay.
Yeah, you're gonna get Iowa, Illinois, Missouri. Like you're gonna get a good, maybe even Ohio. I don't know how close that is. Indiana for sure.
Ohio's like a little hotbed of jiu-jitsu.
Is it?
There is a lot of good jiu-jitsu.
Well, the Arnold's is there every year, and for the longest time, that was like one of the biggest tournaments in the year, and that was Naga.
I went last year, and it's like this year was the biggest tournament they've had in like 10 years, I think they had.
Dude, I think this year was like one of the biggest turnouts for Arnold and period as a whole.
Really?
This past year. Yeah. Well, we were just talking to Matt Owen, who owns this Project Deliverance here. Mm-hmm. And he was up there competing for weightlifting.
Right.
But, yeah, he was saying it's like one of the biggest he was just saying it's like one of the biggest turnouts they've had. And I don't know if maybe the Arnold's just like on a resurgence and it's coming back. Like maybe it had a little lull there for a little bit.
Yeah, I think like, fitness culture is on its rise too. You see how many people are that are getting into fitness more as a trend.
Well, the science is supporting it. Like we're learning more and more shit all the time. Yeah. I don't know. But I do like gi more than no gi, I found. I do like no gi, but I really love the gi. And I've noticed that the point system lends better to gi than it does to no gi. And, like, the submission only seems to really be dominated by, like, the no gi scene.
Yeah, I think, like, the reaping of the knee in the sub-only tournaments and different schools that, go for more and more heel hooks.
Yeah.
Kind of play in the
no
gi.
You have a preference?
That's a tough one. I feel like I do better in no-gi sometimes. Like, I feel like at the end of a gi match, I'm always exhausted. That's what my takeaway from Worlds was like maybe the game I was playing was more suited for, like, one match.
Well, dude, I was exhausted too, bro. And some of that's just, like, my forearms were blown out for me. And so I think some of that's just nerves and the intensity and, like, maybe not being all the way warmed up. And, like, maybe, and this is just, like, assessing my performance last year, whereas it's easy to relax in the practice room just because the whole environment lends to it. But if you look at it in certain positions, it's like I feel like I was tense the whole time for 5 whole minutes, as opposed to where, like, I'm pretty good at, like, I can usually hold a pocket grip for a solid 5 minutes, no problem, and not be super burned out. But it's knowing when to, like, apply that pressure. You know what I mean?
I think that comes with experience.
Exactly, right? So it's like I think when I'm in, at least whenever I was in Worlds, like I was tense the whole time, and I didn't take those moments to relax where I normally would have.
I mean, like my first match was super close. I got down an advantage in the beginning, and then in order to catch back up there, I'd like empty the tank at the end, and I finally got a pass, and I knew I was like,
yeah, I took everything.
Took everything I got. The guy was strong. One time he snapped me down. And almost bounced my face off the mat. I was like, oh no.
Oh shit. Well, do you think that maybe because you know wrestling is the background, like that it naturally lends to no-gi, so there's a better comfort level there?
Yeah, that's like because I did well at the Chicago Open no-gi, and that was my first no-gi one, and I was like, I got off the mat and I wasn't tired, and like I kept good position, I stayed calm, and I think probably both of us just so much MMA training, like doing
Yeah.
MMA for so long, probably has an advantage over a lot of places that don't, especially IBJJF. I feel like most people train mainly in the gi and they do no gi, maybe for the pans or the worlds.
Yeah.
So they're not like full-time no gi guys.
Yeah.
And probably the guys that really dedicate themselves to no-gi are doing maybe different tournaments.
Those guys are killing it, bro. I went against a young savage, Will Tackett. I've talked about him several times, but the kid...
I've heard the name.
Well, the kid's a blue belt beating black belts.
That happened.
I think he's a purple belt now, but at the time, he was like a 17-year-old blue belt. And I wish I would have took this kid serious because I faced him On It. And not to say like he wouldn't have won regardless, but like from my own internal peace... Like you feel better knowing that like you competed at your best and lost, as opposed to like, because what happened was I flew down there the day of the tournament. Like woke up like 4 a.m. Barely even slept the night before because it's so hard to sleep whenever like you have to wake up early and like go travel. I was just so exhausted by the time I competed, but like this kid, and what I don't know if it would have changed anything. That's not the point. But this kid is a fucking savage, and he's won no gi worlds probably 3 or 4 times already, but he hasn't won gi worlds yet. Now, does that say something? You know what I mean? Like, not to say there aren't guys out there who can. Like I think like Gordon Ryan, he could probably go put on a gi and win worlds if he wanted to.
And yeah, I think it's easier in some regards for a gi guy that. And we're talking about the rule set. All right, so like for the IBJJF without reaping in the knees and heel hooks, it's easier for those guys to go and do no-gi. And you look at the guys competing, like no-gi terms are always smaller in the IBJJF.
Yeah, well, I think it's because it's easier to go from gi to no-gi because all you're doing is taking away grips and stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to adding them back in.
Yeah, like the guys that start with like in an MMA gym or no-gi, then you have them, they hate putting on the gi for the longest time.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, get this thing off me quick. I remember that. There's some, it's like, God, they're just grabbing me and they're breaking my posture. It's like, get the fuck off me, bro.
Now when I go like do no-gi, I feel like I'm always like looking for grips and I'm like,
they're not there.
Yeah, they're not there anymore.
Yeah, we got to do more. We don't do a lot of no-gi at our gym. We got to do more no-gi.
You know, I was thinking like we always do the gi open rolls. Like it'd be cool to do like a no-gi open roll.
Yeah. Dude, well, I've been focusing on just using no-gi grips when I have my gi, which is even harder because the grips are there and it's easy to like revert back to that.
Yeah.
But like I'll only grab wrists and I'll only grab like I'll hook like elbows and triceps.
Right, I think that's a good logic. A lot of times I've said that it don't really rely upon that grip unless you have to because those tend to fail or late in the tournament they might not be there. That's why people that rely heavy on their grips, like it's. As for a tournament setting, like 8-9 matches, that might not be the way to go.
Yeah.
Because like not only do you have to like have a good strategy in your approach, like, but if your game takes a lot of energy, like you're on bottom and you're fighting all these grips, like your grips could burn out.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a big tournament, you might be in trouble.
I feel like with my pocket grips, I've gotten to a very efficient place to where I can hold that for probably 10 minutes and not burn out my forearms because you have that leverage.
Yeah.
And it took me time to get there, right? Like doing those 7-minute rolls and 10 minute, like it's like, but like if I really had to stretch it, I think I could probably go a solid 10-minute roll and not be completely gassed out. And it's just because of like using leverage and just like holding this position isn't that hard. So like once I have this, then it's just like you're pulling against yourself once you get a good pocket in there.
Sometimes like I'll just take a grip that doesn't even make sense if I'm rolling with someone like a beginner or new, and I'll just try to grip it as hard as I can just for the workout's sake. Or like I try to pull their posture down. I'm like, I'm getting a workout too.
Well, dude, you got to figure out a way to get your rolls.
Try.
Yeah, I'm wary about even rolling with white belts these days. I never thought I'd get to that place, but like I don't like to roll with white belts. There's a very select few I will. It almost makes me feel like an asshole on open roll days because like now I really am picking and choosing who I'll roll with. It used to be just like, yeah, let's roll, but I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
I try to limit like the bigger guys I go with too.
Yeah, size matters, dude. I had this dude who's in with 300 pounds want to roll with me there. He's a white belt. I'm just like, I'm like, sure, dude. And I felt bad because like I obviously didn't want to roll with the guy.
Yeah.
I rolled with him. He's probably like, honestly, probably like 275.
Yeah.
Tall kid. Like, he's not like obese, but he's a big dude. Oh, fuck, dude. I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, I kind of, my knee hurts right now because I was in bottom half guard and I was trying to reposition. The guy just put enough weight on. I was like, But you look like a jerk if, like, hey, you come up to me. I'm like, no, I'm good.
I know. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to be. Dude, but is it worth being the nice guy and getting hurt and then affecting your own training?
I think sometimes, like, if I go with a bigger guy, I play it. I'm now forced to play a game I never play in competition. Like,
yeah.
Oh, like, my move is like, if you're a big guy, I really don't want to. I just kind of put you in 50-50 and stay there.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to maybe, I don't know, do that if you are in like a real life situation with somebody bigger.
Right.
It's good to go with those guys. And here's the thing, on the flip side, if like Kaylee, like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll go with Kyle.
I'll go with Kyle too.
Every fucking, but he's experienced.
Yeah.
And that makes the difference. I don't want to get hurt. Like, I'm weary about white belts. I'm even worried about some blue belts these days because, like, you feel the need to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do.
You feel the need to finish a submission. You don't feel validated unless you get that tap. It's not about the tap.
Yeah. It is weird, and, like, a lot of people will just go strictly to, try to kill you right off the bat.
And some of that's, like, fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
so you're going to fight. But it's just like, man, in the beginning, and I was just thinking about this heavily, like, you hear there's the common saying, like, submission before, or position before submission, right? Like, control the position before you go for the submission. Like, I've heard that before, but it didn't really resonate with me until very recently when I was thinking about it, because, like, that really is so fucking true, because these younger guys, like, there's so much information coming at you. Like, you really shouldn't even be worrying about submissions in the beginning. You need to be worrying about control and positions.
Right.
Because once you control that position, then you can sink in the submission easily, and no one's going to get hurt. And you're for sure going to have it, and you're going to have it well.
Yeah, I think it's super important to understand the positions and not just some random technique that you learn in class. Like, I'm the baseball bat choke. I was rolling the other day, and this guy, like, all he was trying to do is, like, baseball trick. I'm like, I've mounted you, like, and you're still, like, trying to go.
You got to abandon it
but
at
yeah,
some point.
I think it's like, this sounds weird, but, like, sometimes people get really caught up on the technical aspects of the sport, where, like, it's like trying to understand the positions. Like my philosophy on, like, coaching is, like, you can get the points, right? Like, if you can start up by 2 points, do it. Whether it's a sweep and then, like, it's very psychological. Like, okay, now I'm ahead by 2 points. Say we were in a match and you take me down, you're on top of me, all right, and you're trying to pass my guard, and I'm trying to sweep you, and I see that clock running. I'm like, oh, I gotta get desperate. And the more time goes down, the more desperate I get, the more likely you already have an advantage being up by 2 points.
Yeah.
Because now, like, if whatever I'm going to doesn't work right away, I get more and more desperate, and I get more and more open.
Yeah.
That clock, plays hell with your psyche.
Yeah, you're making a mistake.
Yeah, and, like, I've even had, like, other coaches get in my head. I was, like, in New Orleans, and the guy was beating me by a few points. Like, he's tired. He wants out of there. I'm like, no, I'm not. Dude, I'm trying to win.
I hate when they start coaching against me, bro. It's like,
it does make.
I was gonna go for that motherfucker. Like,
yeah, I try to get people to make eye contact with me. If they can control position, look at me, and I can maybe give a gesture as opposed to shout out, "Hey, look for his arm," because then the guy's like. Yeah. One time I was. There's a boxing match, and the guy would throw whatever his corner yelled. They're like, throw 1-2, and second later, he throw 1-2. I'm like, ooh, I got a cheat code here.
Dude, yeah, they're just giving you what they're about to do, bro. Dude. Well, now we're seeing the uprising of combat jiu-jitsu, right? So you talked about how, like, we've done MMA for so long, and, like, once you start doing when you do MMA and then you go to, like, boxing or you go to jiu-jitsu, I always say it's just jiu-jitsu. Like, I just removed all these other things and I'm not going to get hit in the face. Like, it's super relaxing. But now they added slaps, dude. Open palm slaps hurt, dude. You can fuck people. Boss Rutan used to knock people out with open palm strikes back in the
I don't
day.
know how I'd react if I'm on top of you and you open hand smack me.
From bottom?
Right, or anything. Like, if I'm going to get smacked by a man in public, I don't know if I'm going to just punch him or...
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. I'd have to really think about doing that.
It is funny to smack people. I've been fucking around a little bit, doing a little bit of... just a little bit of movement because I've been training Jackson Henson. And we've been sparring. So sometimes I'll come with this and I'll smack him. Because I don't want to hurt him. Right. But it's just like, dude, you just got hit, bro.
Yeah, that's a huge element that you see with people that cross over in MMA. The second, like, ooh, they get hit there and they're not used to it.
Yeah, but in my mind, I'm like, I just smacked you. Just being silly. I don't think I want to be smacked, but fuck, dude.
I think EBI is going full. That's the only thing they're doing.
That's the transition. Or that's the only thing they're doing now? They're not gonna...
I'm not sure. I saw like something about an EBI tournament. It seemed like it was just strictly combat jiu-jitsu.
Oh, well, man, Eddie Bravo's a dude. He's a very forward-thinking kind of guy. He definitely ruffled a lot of feathers with the way he does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, good marketer.
I'm not mad at him. I mean...
a lot of times people joke about like 10th planet guys not being that good, but like if you go to a lot of these sub tournaments and some of the intricate leg locks things they're doing, I'm like, ooh, that's scary.
Yeah. Well, say what you want about the guy. He really did revolutionize jiu-jitsu in his own way for sure, because he really put leg locks to the forefront. You know what I mean? Like, at that tournament I was at in the finals was one of the guys was a 10th Planet guy. He actually won it. Kyle Chambers, I think is his name. He's 10th Planet Oceanside guy. Like,
they have a lot of good guys.
Dude, on the coast especially, dude. On the coast especially. I just noticed like in the Midwest we don't have that no-gi culture. Like it's not a Midwest thing. Like I've noticed it on the coast. It's down in Austin.
Yeah.
But it's not really here. We're more gi.
Yeah. That's probably right.
Really, I don't know. John Donaher, obviously, like all those dudes, like they're making it pretty big. They're like the next wave.
Yeah, it's who's in charge, who's making waves now. It seems like those guys up there seem to be doing very well.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and I mean now you got the emergence of these 5-on-5 tournaments. What do you think about those?
Yeah, like, cause that one came up in St. Louis. I don't even know if it's happening.
Sub 5. Yeah, so I think what it is, it was going to be at the North County Recplex, and I think they're going to be bigger, so they had to postpone it. Cool. And yeah, I don't know where it's going to be at, but it's going to be like at like a big ass location.
I like the strategy of it. Like, you pit your team and you can because it appears if you have the hammer, the best guy that beats everyone, you're gonna win.
Yeah, well, that was it Quintet, where I can't remember.
But I saw the rules that if you like both stall out, like you both don't get the submission, you both are out.
I think so.
That's pretty cool. So like maybe you might have that guy that like just can't get subbed.
Yeah.
Like go out there and don't get subbed.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
But it's almost like because like.
But if you have one fucking savage.
Yeah, if you got one killer, you're gonna do well.
Yeah.
But I like the strategy aspect of it.
Yeah, like really putting together.
I don't really like EBI overtime. I don't.
Yeah, we've talked about that. That's not your jam.
No, I think it all came off like I did one in Chicago and I like was all over this guy and had him in so many submissions and he escaped real fast in overtime and I lost. I was like, I don't feel like I lost this at all.
Yeah, you think he just like stalled out? And
oh yeah, I was like, and now I think like in bigger tournaments they hit stalling faster and stuff. But
dude, that's the gaming of the system, bro.
I just reffed one in Vegas and there was a kid in a triangle. It seemed like an eternity, and like the tournament director came, was like, "Hey, there's no stalling if they're in a submission." So I sat there and watched that guy in a triangle for like ever.
That's true. I think that's fair. I mean, you're in a position of dominance with the possibility of finishing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but the top guy, he had his arm back and he was defending it.
Oh, and it was obviously like a stalemate.
It was like
stalemate
someone had to take a chance.
Yeah, that's what I've realized, that as you develop, like at least for me, I've realized that the way to get to the next position is you have to let things develop, and you have to let go of the previous position.
When to bail, you know.
When to bail. Or, like, sometimes people will be, like, they think they're passing my guard, but, like, I have this underhook. So it's like I'm just taking your momentum and I'm letting it develop. But if I wanted to try to hold you in this position, I'm not letting the next position develop. Yeah. Like, how many times do people just hold on to positions until it's too late, and now you have to bail, and now you just went past the point of no return?
That's like when, like, I'm training and rolling sometimes. It's like I could stall out here and grind it out and maybe pass, but, like, I could get more out of it if I just open up and keep opening up.
Exactly.
I try to, at least.
Yeah,
but, like,
dude.
Try not to let the ego be like, where I just want to win.
Yeah. You compete a lot.
Yeah. I try to in the summers as much as I can.
Yeah. Is that just because, like, you're not taking, like, the fights and the boxing matches and anything anymore? You're just trying to stay competitive?
I just like competing.
Yeah.
During the summer, it's like it's something to do. And, like, you know, MMA, say you go out and you lose an MMA fight, you, like, it sucks for, like, ever till your next one.
Yeah.
Like, if you go and lose, you're like, oh, well, there's next weekend. Because, like, I can go I did it in Orlando. I got armbarred in, like, 15 seconds.
Oh.
Like, I drove 16 hours for that. And then, like, the weekend after, I did great.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I'm still awesome.
Yeah, dude, that's true. That's the difference between sports like baseball, where, like,
Yeah.
they have, like, 100+ games, or I don't know, something where there's only, like, a 12-game season or some shit. Like,
you got to have a short memory if, like, you harp on those losses.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm terrible.
yeah.
But that's what's cool about jiu-jitsu. There's always another match, and you can always do well. And sometimes you get in a little run. Like, before that time I got armbarred, I was like, I won my last 5 or 6 matches. I'm like, oh, I'm the man.
Feeling
I'm like,
good.
Nope. No, I'm not.
Dude, the universe has a way.
Yeah, that's what's cool about the sport. It always kind of brings you back.
You think about taking another fight ever?
Yeah, it's definitely crossed my mind with, like, running the gym and everything. It's definitely, like, gotta get your ducks in a row. But the thing I fear the most is, like, in, like, 5 or 6 years when I'm truly too old to do it,
When
you'd be
you're
like,
really
oh,
done.
I could have.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, I don't really miss fighting, but sometimes I've always kind of kept the perspective that you really can't do this forever, which
Right,
is one of the
scary.
things that drove me to, like, keep
Yeah.
pushing and say, listen, dude, you really do only have a limited window. And for us, it's probably some people go longer, but let's just say 35, 36.
Yeah.
What are you? You're 31, right?
Yeah.
So 5 years.
Right.
Let's just say 5 years. That's not long, bro. Like, we've been doing this for a decade.
Yeah, you know, there was, like, a few goals that, like, I wanted to check off before, you know, I said it's all done. But, man, it is a stressful situation. Like,
Yeah.
I almost want to do it, like, in another country or somewhere else where, like, you don't have to sell tickets or any of that.
Just go fight.
Yeah, like, if I'm in the backstage of River City Friday night and they're like, somebody dropped off, Kirk, will you fight? I'd absolutely do it.
Yeah.
But if you give me, like, hey, in 6 months we fight, I'm like, man, that seems like a lot of stress on your shoulders.
It's not natural, bro.
Yeah,
It's not natural. It's stressful as shit.
Then you're like, I obsess over it, and
Mm-hmm.
this is, like, consumes your life, and it's like, it's not that much fun. Jiu-jitsu is a little more laid back, and
Yeah.
I get to focus in other ways other than
Right. Well, just think about it. If you're really going to fight out in the world, you're not going to plan it. It's
Right.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah, if you put a time and a date, like, okay, I'm going to meet this guy at this time, you're like, you sit there and just dread it and think about it.
I just obsess over it. I just think about this guy. But, like, you're sitting there and then your heart starts racing out of nowhere.
And I'm like, he's probably running. I need to run.
Well, for a while there, you're taking a ton of boxing matches.
I did do a lot of boxing, yeah. I had a lot of fights as an amateur. So,
Dude, yeah. You're taking quite a few pro boxing, too, though. How many pro boxing
I
matches?
think I had 7.
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
It's a good amount. Yeah, dude.
I won my first 3. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Boxing was really cool because, again, it was
You don't get as beat up. Like, obviously, the
don't
blows,
think?
the blows to the head you do.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, training for an MMA fight, like, picking your body off the mat and getting your joints twisted. But, like,
Yeah.
the boxing training
Leg
is
kicks
almost
and-
like, it's more fun, other than the getting punched in the head.
Well, there's only one thing to think
right?
about.
Yeah.
And from a mental aspect, that was always so much better than MMA because, like, oh, I don't gotta worry about
You
leg
boxed
kicks.
too, didn't you?
I did
feel-
box. Yeah, I had 1 pro kickboxing and 2. I don't think I only had 1 pro boxing, but I had like 3 or 4 amateur boxing.
Yeah.
I really focused on MMA for the most part. I've done everything. I did an amateur Muay Thai fight.
Was that in Omaha?
Yeah.
I was there.
Were you?
Yeah, you drove up with Quentin late. Like,
Yeah.
you drove up late. You drove like the day of.
Yeah.
And me and Joe were there.
Yeah, Joe was there. You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was it the storm, the time it stormed?
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, I went against this guy who was like 6 foot, and he fucked up my sternum.
I won fighter of the night. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you fought?
Yeah.
I remember.
Then someone put my bag outside in the storm.
And it was raining super hard.
Everything got ruined.
Yeah, we were outside in that tent.
Mm-hmm. Like, the storm was coming down. Like, you could see the storm in the distance, and I was like, there's a big metal pole right by the ring. I'm like, there's no way they're going to have me fight. It's like, you're next.
Yeah, dude. I remember. That was a good show. It was a good card, actually.
Yeah, they said that was the Ring Wars in Omaha, and I don't think they do the fights anymore up there
really?
on the September days or whatever, September Fest. Yeah.
I don't know.
That was cool, though, because that was the only place where there was, like, pro Muay Thai fights back in the day.
I think Drew Dober fought on that card.
He did.
Yeah.
I remember he fought 2 Warren. I can't believe I'm remembering this.
Well, maybe you haven't taken as many headshots as you thought, bro.
Oh.
You ever worry about that, CTE? We've taken a lot of headshots.
Right, because I've had probably I think I did the math, about 60-something fights between amateur boxing and kickboxing.
Oh, really?
It's a lot, right?
And that doesn't even include training.
Right?
You know, I mean, we had some wars.
Yeah. Do I worry about it? Yeah. But then it's like, I've asked people that are around me, I'm like, do I ever seem like I'm kind of punchy or
No.
like you mumble? I'm like, I have always kind of mumbled, but I guess time will tell. That's
Yeah.
But that's a tough one. Well, how do you handle that? Like,
Yeah. We've learned a whole bunch of shit about how to take care of your brain. And, like, the more things that we learn, I mean, we've learned that you can regrow new brain cells.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I think about, like, with our lungs, for example. Like, people who smoke, they've shown that if you quit smoking, usually within 7 years, like, your lungs are back to normal. There's, like, a kind of a point of no return, but our body's always regenerating and healing itself. Like, is the brain the same way? Like, I know they say it's irreparable damage, but if we're learning that there are certain areas where we can grow new brain cells, like, can we do some good for long? Like, you know, we stop getting punched in the head, and for the next 20 years, really take care of our brain. Does that reverse some shit?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, I don't dive deep into the understanding or science of it, but it's probably not good that you're getting punched in the head all the time. But like, MMA is not. Like, I see so many people that don't want to spar right now.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't want to ever spar. But I'm like, if you're truly worried about getting hit in the head and brain damage, you shouldn't do this.
You shouldn't do it. You
at
can't.
all. Like,
you can't worry about your health at all.
Right? Yeah. The second that you're like, man, I can't spar because of this reason, like, you need to not do this.
Yeah.
This is like, you're absolutely going to get hit in that. That's the name of this game, is render your opponent unconscious.
Yeah, dude. Like you gotta be smart, right? You don't want to hurt yourself.
If you're gonna do it, you have to be smart about it. But like, I do believe in sparring hard sometimes. Like, a lot of people are like, I don't want to go too hard, and I really value that when I went to like boxing gyms, and how fatiguing it was, and like.
Yeah.
Then I could go to, like, you know, St. Charles, and sometimes it wasn't an all-out fight, and I'd never get tired. Then I'd spar 3 rounds with boxers that it was a fight.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, and like, I think right before the fight, I think the best way to get in shape is that it's really hard to replicate fighting without fighting.
Yeah, so it's like this catch-22, right? It's
it
like
is.
There's this fine line to walk. I feel like in the beginning of your career.
Yeah, you have to understand.
You got to get those rounds in. Yeah. I feel like it's important. And like you said, if you're going to do this, then you got to do it. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I started having those thoughts about my brain, which was like, oh, man, like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. But you can't have those thoughts. Like, no good fighter does. You got to put your own health to the wayside.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in the beginning, you really need to – it's like baptism by fire. And I think – like Robbie Lawler said, like, he was probably a big catalyst of. He's like, I don't spar anymore. And actually, I was kind of in that camp where I really, towards the end of my career, like, stopped sparring as much. But I feel like when you're more experienced and you really do know how to fight and you have been in those wars, like, do you need it as often? Like, in the beginning, I think you really need it, and towards the end, it's like. I mean, maybe once or twice, but maybe not as much. Like, do you need it as often?
I'm sure it probably varies on person.
It definitely varies on the person.
Because, like, I think it's really hard to replicate the timing of fighting without sparring.
Yeah.
And you look at kind of like how the Thais spar. It's very like slow and they pop each other. And then like some people just can't spar hard or like light. You're like, all right. Then they just plug you. I'm like, all right, now I'm going to hit you back hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Which brings me to the point of like, so talking to Quentin O'Brien, like him and Julius when they train, like they have planned hard spar rounds. They're like, all right, well, this week we're doing 3 or 4, however many, hard from the get. So that way, like to your point, there's not this escalation of where it's like, all right, I'm going a little bit light, and then you blast me, and then now I blast you, and then now it escalates. It's like, all right, no, we're both going to go hard. So now you're ready for it. So now you're tighter, you're doing things better, right? Like, and it's agreed upon. So then there's no emotion now because you're expecting it.
I don't know, like my hard round. Sometimes I'd go with guys with like I loosely knew, so it wasn't that weird. Like if I punch this guy hard, I don't care. I know he's gonna try to take my head off too.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, like, cause I did well in my first few pro boxing matches. Then like, you know, I tried to get in the circles of some better boxers. There's levels of that. I brought Darwin Price. I think he's doing really well as a pro now. He's won a bunch of fights. And I was training with Mike Wood, and he brought him in the spar with me. And like he would pop me and move, and I felt the punch. Now he's over there. I was like, oh man, there's definitely levels of this.
Dude, yeah, angles and speed.
Oh, speed, yeah, the speed between
power.
Like a legitimate pro boxer is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, here's the thing though, boxing. So MMA, there is more ways to get like. To be damaged, right? Like to get hurt in the way of like maybe they kick your leg or you know you got more weapons in MMA. Yeah. But like to your point, like boxing, I feel like is more dangerous because while there is more ways to get hurt in MMA, I feel like you also have more ways to defend yourself than boxing. Like if you're beating me up in boxing, I can't just tie you up. Maybe for like a second,
right?
But in MMA, I can at least grab you, post you on the cage, maybe take you down, hold on to you, slow it down.
That was always the argument when we first started, right? Is like that, you know, there's more grappling aspect, and you're just not sitting there trading punches to the head. But we're seeing some of these guys now, like look at poor BJ. Doesn't seem like he's having some troubles.
Yeah, well, you get
it's
hit.
like the first generation of guys that are like phasing out of the sport, and we're seeing what's happening to them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's tough. I just feel like if I can defend myself in more ways, I have a better chance.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows like boxing wasn't good for you. You'd always see the guys at the gym that were trainers now, and their speech was slurred. And
yeah, it doesn't help that Russian kid died. Was he Russian?
Oh yeah, that just happened.
He's 28.
That's unfortunate, but I mean that legitimately happens in pretty much all sports.
It's
too.
a part of it, dude. You know, it's fortunately it's not the normal. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more.
Yeah, fortunately it doesn't.
You get like there's a lot more testing now, man, and that's a double-edged sword because it's like harder for promoters to put on shows when you have to do as much testing. Like when
it's more expensive.
Box in New York, I had to get an MRI and all that stuff. It's
yeah. You know, have you fought in Illinois?
Not since I was an amateur.
Oh, dude, they have one of the most.
I've dealt with.
I don't know what I want to say.
I've seen the commission working for Bellator. I've seen like the commission run things. I know
they're difficult.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. They're a little more difficult.
Yeah, like they wanted you to get like you had to get an eye exam from an optometrist, I believe. I can't remember what the difference is in eye doctors, but there's 2 different eye doctors. I think one's an optometrist and the other is something else. And you had to go to one over the other. Like
I had to get that test once, and the lady definitely messed it up.
I'm like, what?
They dilate your pupils.
Yeah.
They put out a screen where you have to like say this pops out, this pops out.
No.
And the girl did it wrong.
Oh really?
And yeah. Hopefully she doesn't get in trouble. Name no names. But I was like, hey, I won't tell on you if you just pass me right now. She's
yeah.
Like, okay.
We're cool.
Dude, and I passed.
That works out. Yeah, dude. I got my eyes dilated, bro. And I'm just like flying blind the rest of the day. So I went to the store. I probably should have been driving around.
I was just talking to Joe Mueller. He fought on Lion Fights. And he showed up there. And I guess the assistant signed off on the paperwork. And then he had to go get like a doctor to sign off, and it was a whole process right before the fight. Those things always tend to happen too. It's always more stress on stress.
Yeah, man. That's so weird how that works too. It's like you would think, well, I mean, the goal is to make that day as smooth as possible.
Right.
But sometimes it seems like the commission is like set out to be difficult.
Yeah.
It's,
I think sometimes like they definitely want to show their authority
yeah, that
but
power.
I mean sometimes they have to. Maybe something just slid under the radar and they're like, "Oh, that wasn't good. Now we have to really crack down on it." I think there's definitely like good intent behind a lot of it,
Yeah.
but sometimes I think people just like to have authority too.
People do like authority. People do like authority. So, dude, how are you? Like, what's your training like these days? Because you're teaching. How many classes a week are you teaching? And you're reffing and competing. Like,
Um, Teach 3 up at St. Charles in the morning, and sometimes I get good training and sometimes I don't. Like
are
sometimes I
you
feel
rolling with the class?
yeah, I mean I did a few today, but like it's hard because like sometimes if you're teaching, I feel like I'm taken away from other people's experience. If I like, hey, I'm gonna go in the middle and I'm gonna roll, and same thing at my gym is like sometimes I don't like to like I try to teach class. I feel bad if I don't teach if we kind of just roll, but it comes down to like me if I want to roll or not that day. But I've been trying to roll more consistently because obviously I gassed out of Worlds, but I wouldn't say like I don't have like a real training schedule. Like,
You're just always training.
yeah, I'm always kind of training, and but then I try to help people the best I can
Yeah.
with their whatever they're doing.
Well, when you're traveling to all these different cities, because you're always in a different city, I feel like, are you hitting up any of these gyms, taking technique classes, or hitting their open mats or anything like that
Most
ever?
time it's weekends, and most time it is open mats.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I do get like in Omaha, I got some good training, but a lot of times isn't like I'm just in and out. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes when I'm reffing, if me competing saves the division, I compete.
Yeah.
Like, this weekend there's one brown belt that showed up and he wants to compete. They're like, all right, you want to go? So yeah, and they go. And then another one showed up. They're like, never mind, don't worry about it. They're big too. I was kind of happy. This big old 200-pound guy.
Oh shit. Oh.
I was like, all right, I'll give him hell. But
That'd
then
be
if someone else
miserable.
showed up,
Fucking absolute division.
I think I'm done with absolute division.
It took me a long time to even understand what absolute division was. It's just a
Yeah.
fucking free for all.
Yeah. So in Chicago, I drew the ultra heavy the first round, and he just like Muay Thai clinched me and set me down. Then my neck hurt the next day. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm gonna do it anymore. I normally bail. Like I didn't do it in New Orleans because it was like way after the event. Like we competed at 2 or 3, then like it went at 6, and everyone's like in New Orleans for the first time. They're like, I could tell I was getting the job. Like, hey, do you really want to do this?
How important to it? Yeah, how important is it to you?
I don't care either way, but it's 2:30 now. I'm like, okay, let's go.
It's your choice, man.
I mean, I get it too. Like, that's the cool thing about going to do tournaments is you always get to see different cities and different experiences.
Yeah, the community's huge.
Yeah, it's.
You can go almost anywhere in the world and do jiu-jitsu.
It's surprisingly like how often I ref. I see kids from Tampa. I saw the same the 2 kids in Las Vegas that I saw in Tampa.
Really?
I'm like, man, these young kids, 13, 14 years old. I'm like, man, they're.
We're in a different time, dude. We got people who are just legitimately only doing jiu-jitsu from the time they're like 8.
Yeah, and I had one of those kids in my gym. I hope you listen to this. He was really good. He was training with Ezra for 3 or 4 years, and he lived right down the street from my gym. And
Yeah.
he was getting really good, and like, yeah, he's getting better and better, and then he just quit. He was like 15, 16 years old. Girlfriend.
Yeah. Girlfriend, car, friends. Yeah. See, it's like the thing with starting that young is you definitely want to prevent burnout.
Yeah.
It's like just keep them on the mat. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's tough, though, when you do something for that long.
Yeah.
It really is. But, man, if you can keep those kids in it. Sometimes I feel like the best time to start isn't that young, but more like 10 to 12 range.
Right, yeah, because I have a nephew, and like I think he's 4 now. I was like, he's going to be like my trial for my own kids. Like, I'm going to see how it goes with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I started my daughter in jiu-jitsu. I guess it's been 2.5 years now, coming up on 3 years. So I think she was She's 9 now, so she was 6.
Does she ask to come to class? Does she get excited for it?
It's kind of like when she started, it was just kind of like whatever, and then like she wasn't kind of feeling it, but then she hit this groove where she was really enjoying it and things were clicking, and and then like she kind of got burned out a little bit. Yeah. She's like, I'm done with this. So like I gave him a break over the summer. But she doesn't really have much of a choice. Like I feel like girls just need to do jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like there's no fucking. So I don't care about her getting burned out because even if she gets burned out at 16, like she still has all these years of jiu-jitsu and something's gonna stick.
Just even with if you train 6 months, like how much you could defend yourself a little bit.
Just a little bit of knowledge goes a long way,
like,
dude.
I think if an altercation happened, if you could freeze them up for 2 to 3 minutes, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically. A small girl, even trained, isn't to like fend off attack or flying armbar, but like she could slow them down and tangle them up for a short time, like a few minutes, and that could save your life.
Yeah, dude. Maybe somebody comes by, maybe you help, maybe you do submit them.
Maybe you do.
Maybe you do break something. Maybe you do tap them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cross collar choke is probably one of the most like relevant things because whether it's a shirt or a jacket or a hoodie. You usually maybe try to grab onto that.
Or maybe the guy's like, oh, she knows what she's doing. I'm bailing.
Maybe. Yeah. So she doesn't have a choice. Now, my son, the ultimate goal is I really want him to wrestle.
Right.
Like, I really want that. And from my experience, is wrestling is more intense in the competitive aspect than jiu-jitsu, like just the community. So I didn't want to put him in wrestling because of that.
Yeah.
And so he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was like 8. And now that he's 11 now, he's in 6th grade. Like I'm gonna start getting him more into wrestling. He's already done grappling. He's already But now it's like, all right, dude. Now we're about to start turning it up.
Like, what other sport are you out there doing your thing and your dad's 3 feet away yelling at you?
Dude,
like, I ref one little league wrestling tournament. I was like done. Like,
it's tough, dude. Those dads who take their kids off to the corner.
Yeah, like.
It's like, bro, he's 5. Like,
he don't care right now.
Yeah, it's cool. He doesn't have to be a world champ.
Man, even some I'd say at least one time a tournament, especially reffing kids, that's where you have the most problems.
Yeah.
Is like parents. Even this weekend is just like somebody parents get upset. They want their kid to win, but like.
Yeah.
I'm not purposely. If you feel like I cheated your kid, not cheating your kid.
You have no agenda.
And most of the time, the coaches are always cool and understand. But sometimes, if like. I see it often if, like, a little boy loses to a girl.
Yeah.
Dads don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Billy?
My issue would be is, like, not that because I actually had, as a parent and a little bit of a coach, I was not very happy with Naga. Not like last year when they came.
The reffing? Right?
Yeah, just the whole experience, the whole staff. I got there, and it felt like very bad energy. Like, they didn't want to be there, and, like, you're bothering them. It's like, what? And then even the refs, I didn't feel good about the refs. I feel like they were being lazy and making bad calls. Not that they had an agenda for anybody, but it was just like they didn't care, and they were being complacent. I'm just like, dude, I won't do another fucking Naga because of it, dude. But it's like, it can be personal as a parent, but you shouldn't take it personally. Like, I don't think they had an agenda. I just think they were being lazy. But they're human.
Right, yeah. I don't even know. I think they could have drove all night. Something could have happened.
Anything could have happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to take it personal, but I just know I didn't like the experience.
Their point system's a little screwy.
Naga?
Yeah, it's a little different. I was up there for the last one in St. Louis, and I didn't quite understand It's definitely different.
Yeah, well, they were the only show in town for so long.
Right.
I think it's cool they do the swords for kids. I still think that's
reasonably dangerous, right?
Hey, they're dull. They're dull, bro. Only takes one kid to sharpen that shit.
Right. He's outside rubbing it on the concrete.
Look, Mom, look what I can do.
Right.
Holy shit, bro.
But it's expensive. It's a rather expensive event for a kid, I guess.
What is jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, that's. I think that's why sometimes parents gets super invested in it.
It is expensive as a whole, yeah. I mean, classes aren't cheap, and then tournaments aren't cheap, that's the flip side to wrestling. Wrestling
Cheaper.
tournaments are super cheap.
Right,
like
yeah.
$20-$30 for a wrestling tournament.
Yeah.
Like every weekend.
It's probably that's why it's almost hard to talk some kids into competing versus others. Like some want to, but you're like, and then if they lose, they get real disappointed too.
Yeah. I don't really worry. The competition, especially depending on how old they are, is not. It's not the most.
You gotta learn
important.
to lose.
that's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
That's hard for a parent. Like, as a parent, you don't want to see your kid losing.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you feel like that with you're a coach.
Yeah.
You,
I don't care
you got a
if
whole bunch of kids.
as long as you just don't give up, like, or if you just go out there and quit, as long as you put forth an effort.
Yeah. That's frustrating when you see somebody, like, visibly quit.
Yeah, I've had even kids, like, come out on the mat, like, real scared and crying like they don't want to do it, and their parents force them out there. I've told, like, a little girl once, I'm like, hey, you don't have to do this.
Yeah. It's tough, though. It's like, okay, well.
But their parents are trying to teach them a lesson. Like,
right.
You committed to this, so you do it. But, like, I don't want to drag this poor little girl screaming, like, I don't want to do this. And, like, you're doing it.
We're here. We paid for it.
Yeah. Got the T-shirt and everything.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's a fine line. But just is what it is, dude. Some of those kids turn out to be fucking savages. Askren, Ben Askren, Max Askren.
Right.
Those guys wrestled from, like, the time they were however young, and killers. I mean, up until recently. I'm just kidding. I fucks with Ben. I want to have him on the show. I think he's just so smart.
He's got an interesting mind about it.
Exactly. Right? He has a very interesting, like, mental approach to athletics.
Yeah, and he, like, everyone dogs him from that fight, but that happens. Like, what if it would have played out different?
It's totally a part of it, dude. Like, you got to put yourself on the line. So many people don't even know what that's like. It is so crushing to train for months.
Yeah, and be over so fast.
Yeah, for this single event. Even if you went the whole 3 rounds and lost, a loss sucks, period.
Yeah, that's another thing about MMA. You build it up for so long, and it's either an awesome experience or a letdown.
Yeah, huge letdown.
Right? You let everyone down. All your friends are there.
Dude, that's the worst part.
Your mom's there.
You're forced to sell all these tickets.
Right.
I would rather just fight in a big arena and not have to sell tickets.
Right.
Personally, because, like, the more intimate the show, like, you can feel it. And you can really hear these motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's like when you're started off an amateur. I remember, like, some of my first fights, like, all my high school friends are, like, 1 foot from the cage. And you're like, I'm not going to lose. But when you fight big arenas, it's almost like you don't even notice them. It's almost like you're alone.
Yeah, it's like you're alone. Like,
that's much better.
For me, it's like you just kind of slip into this flow state a whole lot easier.
Or if you just fight in another country, they're like, they don't even know who's going to win or lose. If they don't find the stream, I ain't posting it.
That's true. How many countries have you fought in? A couple, right? Was it
2?
Colombia?
In Brazil.
In Brazil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet those are some dope experiences.
Yeah, they're definitely different. They're pretty fun. I think I was the first American to fight in Colombia.
Oh, really?
Well, there's like 3 Americans on the card, and I was one of them, so.
Okay.
It was pretty cool to say I was the first American.
Were you the first out of the 3 on the card?
I was not.
Oh.
I think I was last.
Oh.
I don't remember.
You're third American, bro.
Yeah.
No, close enough. That's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope. That's why, like, at least for me, like, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get into fighting, was to travel and do stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen places I never thought I'd see because of doing this stuff.
Charles Johnson's living in Brazil or Thailand for the next year.
That's pretty cool.
Because of fighting. Like, you've been all over the country.
Yeah.
In a couple different countries because of fighting.
Yeah.
Like,
I've cornered EJ in Australia.
Oh yeah, you've been, like, so you fought in 2 countries, but you've been far more places just, like, cornering and coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You're like, man, didn't think this would be here.
Did you ever see yourself in this role as a coach, like, in the capacity that you are? Because, like, you're Coach Huff right now, bro.
I don't feel like that. I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool experience that happened.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It was, for me, let me ask you, was it a hard transition to make that from, like, competitor to coach? Like, mentally, was that a hard transition for you?
In terms of, like, MMA, like, coaching people for MMA, I wouldn't say hard. Like, I still consider myself a competitor.
Yeah.
Like, I try not to take, like, the full-on, like, coach role. Like, I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't like people, like, that I train that I've become friends with fighting. It's like, too scary. I tell everyone, like, all the time, like, I'm retiring from coaching.
Yeah.
Like, a jiu-jitsu match, I'm like, oh, you might pop your ankle or something. That's fine. We can deal with that.
Yeah.
But, like, MMA is, like, these people, like, I lead them in there, and if something happens that, like, I feel like I didn't address or this, like, man, is it on me?
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's not all on you, but there's less control there, right?
It's really frustrating if you're training a guy and you're trying to coach them and they don't live up to their end. Like they don't show up as much as you'd like, or
Yeah, you're giving more than they are.
yeah, like what are we doing here? Am I coaching you or are you coaching yourself?
Right. Yeah, do you just fire those athletes? Say, hey, man, I can't coach you.
Kinda. I mean, like I don't want to fire them, but I'm like, sometimes I have a conversation. Be
Gotta
like,
have that hard talk.
yeah, I have no problem being super honest with, be like, hey, you're doing this and this isn't a result in this. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing you fucking are, dude, is honest.
Yeah, I've run some people. Or if they ask me, like, what do you think? Like, you're gonna lose. Like, you're kind of lazy.
Yeah. No sugarcoating it at all. Hey, man, that's why you're the Huffster, bro.
I guess.
I don't know, dude. Well, hey, dude, it's been an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I told you, dude. I told you. Let's wrap this up. Floor is yours, man. So tell the folks how they can come to your gym, tell them about the gym, plug, promo, anything that you want.
Coach at Arnold BJJ. That's down Arnold. ArnoldBJJ.net. Then I teach morning classes at St. Charles MMA, Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at 10. And don't have to be like an athlete. Everyone's like, I got to get in shape before I do it.
I hate that.
No, just come in. I promise you'll get in shape.
You'll get in shape doing it.
Or they want to like go and work out first. Like it's really easy to get in shape. Like if someone's trying to choke you, like
Yeah, it really is.
When you're bench pressing, no one's like, if you don't get this next rep, I'm gonna choke you.
And it's a different type of shape.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the same thing. It's not the same level of intensity. What about socials? Any handles you want to plug or anything like that?
Yeah.
Do you care? Or,
Yeah.
Where can people, if they wanted to follow the page online? Or
Yeah, I have a Facebook page, Arnold BJJ.
Arnold BJJ.
Yeah.
Do you get Arnold BJJ on Instagram as well?
Yeah, I just post random pictures, nothing too cool. How people do in tournaments and stuff.
You got like a world champion Savage and Dakota Zimmerman.
Just doing, yeah.
Yeah. And
Didn't do good in Vegas, but
it happens. You can't win them all.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough lesson, right?
And I think for somebody of like that caliber athlete, like who has that much success, like you really have to have those. Like those. She's gonna grow more from that.
She had a hard time like getting the weight down and ran a lot, and it's a learning experience. Like, hey, she didn't go up a weight class, so that's good.
Okay.
Then a lot of people in tournaments, like that's what I love about competitions. You get those learning experiences. Like I had a guy do the in-house tournament yesterday, and he wasn't very satisfied with his. He's like, man, he sent me a message. He's like, man, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna take it more serious. I didn't like that feeling. So that's why I value competition. It's like you learn those lessons right off the bat, and it's like a written test. Like, oh, I suck at this position. I can't get out. I gotta learn that. So that's what it's like. Someone told me long ago. It's like each tournament's like 3 months of training or however you view it. But as a coach, it's super easy to assess where you're at. Like, oh, Jimmy here doesn't know anything from half guard. He got crushed.
Yeah.
So now we can do that.
Yeah, and also we have this tendency to live in a delusion sometimes where you kind of lie to yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? But then it's like, oh, man, like I'm not taking it serious enough. Or it's like, oh, man, coach has been telling me I'm not very good at half guard, and here's the real-time feedback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude,
nothing's like walking off the mat. You're like, oh, man, that sucked.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Shit. Well, right on, man. I think that's it, my man.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Till next time.